Hi students, today we are going to do the poem Fire and Ice from the book First Flight. This poem has been written by Robert Frost. Well, Robert Frost was born in San Francisco on March 26, 1874. Robert Lee Frost, named after Southern Journal Robert E. Lee, was highly admired and appreciated for his great expertise on American colloquial speech and his realistic portrayal of rural life. His poems are still sold even in the present day because their messages are timeless. So, let's go through the learning objectives of one such poem, that is Fire and Ice. To appreciate the beauty, rhyme and style of the poem, to understand the thought and imagination contained in the poem, to think about different human emotions and their effect. Hatred and power of emotions are the major themes of the poem. The poet discusses the destructive features of human emotions. He uses the symbol of fire and ice to show how desires and hatred contribute in making the world stand at the verge of chaos. Here is the main idea of the poem. The poem has been written symbolically. The poet says that there are mainly two opinions about the end of this world, one by fire and another by ice. The symbols fire and ice have been used for human emotions like desire and hatred respectively. As fire can spread very fast and cause a great destruction in no time, likewise, our desires may also prove very destructive if they go out of control. Hatred causes slow destruction like ice, but it is also very harmful. Let's go through stanza-wise explanation of the poem. In the first stanza, the poet writes, "Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire." Here, the word desire means a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. The word favor means approval or support. The poem expresses a very intense idea that the world would end in either of two ways, either by fire or ice. The poet states that he has tasted desire and stands with those who favor fire. According to the poet, fire stands for desire, greed, or lust. The more you try to satisfy them, the more they grow. There is no end to it. The poet uses past tense, saying, "I've tasted desire," meaning he has experienced desire before. It probably means that because of desire, the world will end in war. Well, history has proven that one of the determinants of a war is the desire for power and control. Many wars have been fought over the control of land and resources, while others were because of a desire to be the most powerful nation. Moreover, it can also be comprehended that someday the Earth's core will get so heated up that it would lead to fire, destroying the Earth's surface. In the second stanza, the poet writes, "But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice." The word perish means die or destroy, and suffice means be sufficient. Here the speaker wants to say that when it comes to perishing by two things, the speaker only thinks of hate as the second option. That is, the destruction by ice. He sees ice as a great destructive force just like fire, and would be sufficient to destroy this world. Here the poet compares the nature of ice with hatred, as ice can make a part of body numb with its prolonged contact. Similarly, hatred can also give numbness to our mind and thoughts and make us insensitive and cruel. On the other hand, we can also comprehend that if the temperature goes down to an extent that makes life on earth impossible, it would be equally catastrophic as the heat. Let's analyze the literary devices used in the poem. First is assonance. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sound in the same line, such as long sound of O in I hold with those who favor fire. Next is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds in the same line, such as the sound of F in I hold with those who favor fire. Next is imagery. Imagery is used to make readers perceive things involving their five senses. For example, some say the world will end in fire, and to say that for destruction ice is also great. Well, these lines contain two imageries. The visual imagery here can encourage the readers to think that when they see fire, it seems like very terrible thing. Meanwhile, the tactile imagery makes the reader feel that fire is very, very hot and dangerous. Similarly, in the next line, visual imagery with the word ice makes the reader imagine that ice is a very horrible thing too. The tactile imagery makes the reader feel that ice will make them freezing. The next literary device is symbolism. Symbolism is a use of symbols to signify ideas and qualities by giving them symbolic meanings different from their literal meanings. Fire is the symbol of desires, and ice symbolizes hatred. Next literary device is anaphora. It refers to the repetition of a word or expression in the first part of some verse. For example, some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. The word some is repeated here. Next literary device is personification. Personification is to give human qualities to inanimate objects. In this poem, fire and ice are capable of destruction. Therefore, the poet personifies fire and ice by giving them a mind, which is capable of destroying almost anything. Next literary device is enjambment. It is defined as a thought or a clause that does not come to an end at a line break. Rather, it moves over the next line. For example, from what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. Next is the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme followed by the entire poem is ABA, ABC, and BCB. In conclusion, we can say that hate among religions in recent world has brought terrorism attacks in many countries. The real aspect demonstrates how this poem is true in showing Hatred and desire are destructors of the world. Hatred is something that grows like a maize plant. It grows without someone's knowledge, but when it matures, it pops out and produces the results. The results of hate are always bitter. So, the two aspects of nature, ice and fire, show war faced by the world today due to hate and desire. Therefore, Socrates has rightly said, "From the deepest desires often come the deadliest hate."